Okay, so let's talk about Trump and Greenland and Europe. And this is, pass this along to anybody who's involved in Europe, because it's not, Trump will be Trump, and that's the point. Trump's an old man talking out of his ass. Um, so Europe should just say, yeah, 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 yeah. You know, uh, we need you to put bases here and here and here and here. Um, a base that protects the coasts of Greenland, or a Coast Guard base, not a bad idea. There should be a Coast Guard base in Greenland, just to assure that Trump's fears, which there may be intelligence from Tulsi Gabbard about, from Moscow that says they're planning on something. Of course, Vladimir's as crazy as Donald, so yeah. So do something that may react to real intelligence. Put an American Coast Guard base or a Canadian Coast Guard base in, make it a joint thing at certain points to guarantee the coasts of Greenland, and to interdict any Soviet spy vessels. So, because Putin's still a Soviet for all practical purposes. Those who think he's not are lying to themselves. Those people are only in MAGA who think, oh, it's socialism. We don't like socialism. Last time I checked, the kleptocracy in Russia was the same as the kleptocracy of the Soviet Union. So it's still socialism. If Russia was ever socialism, so is the state of the Federation, Russian Federation. Anyway, let the doting old fool think he's won something. As long as the people of Greenland are not forcibly moved, as long as they have as long as any decision regarding their fate happens in 2027. No, excuse me, 2029. As long as it's a 2029 based date for it to take effect, he'll be gone by then. Hell, he'll be gone this year. I mean, I'm surprised he's still alive now. He's not going to live to see anything that would happen. So, put it in, delay it. Maybe get a base for the Coast Guard or the Canadian Coast Guard, or both, a joint base. That would make sense. To deal with anything having to do with Russia and China, and to just patrol the coast to make sure nothing happens. It's untoward. I think that's a good idea. As far as the people of Greenland, I know they're loyal to the king, but maybe they belong in a political union with Nunavut, which is the I think I'm saying that right, which is the Inuit province of Canada. They actually belong with their people because they're the same. They're the same people group. So let the people group unite. It makes sense. Or just make a deal with Canada, the whole thing. You don't have to take the highest bidder. Just cede it to Canada and let it be Canada's problem. And then Trump will then talk about Canada. And again, any talks about it there should be a secret protocol that Trump doesn't know about. And by saying this, if this has any legs, he'll always wonder between the Canadians and the rest of Europe. Because here's the thing. Geologists have found out that the real plate tectonics have the Eurasian plate and the North American plate. They're the same plate. There's a little volcanic inventory action in the center of that plate. There's a ridge forming, but that doesn't mean there's a plate changing. There's no plate between, just a volcanic zone. We can have those. There's a volcanic zone there's a hot spot in the middle of the Pacific. It's called Hawai'i. So yeah, Yeah, all volcanoes are not plate tectonics. So, it's a matter of perspective. And the perspective we have now is that we're all one big continent. So, now Africa, and Italy, that's a continent. Southern Europe slash Africa, that's a different plate. Mountains are being pushed up big time. There are no big time mountain push-ups. A small rift forming with volcanoes is not a clash, it's a spreading of an existing continent. The Eurasian continent is growing, Eurasian slash American. So don't even think of us as a different continent. We're just part of Europe. So there is no such thing as North America on a Paleocene or Paleolithic, whatever it's called. Geological is the easier one. But the plate tectonics are this, it's like whatever. So the only question is, who's more associated with the tribes on it? The native Inuit, and it's other native Inuit. In fact, also Alaska should be part of that thing. Buy it, trade. Alaska should be moved to Greenland, and Far Eastern Russia. It's all one people, so let it be one people. And that's going to take some time. It'll probably take till 2030 with another American president who's more of a globalist. One who, if there's a consolidated allied government, if I were to advise the leader of a consolidated allied government, I'd say, make a deal and have one Inuit region, and have whatever allied legislature ratify that. Then there are no international deals, because all the alliance would have one government. So yeah, it's going to happen anyway. It's we can't go on like we're doing, or else we're going to blow ourselves up. So, and maybe we'll blow ourselves up if the innies and the allies and everybody else decide to have a war. I mean, this is all above our pay level about what actually happens to an extent. Yeah, but in the interim, make a deal with Trump, or make it look like there's a deal with Trump. As long as the native population is taken care of and not forcibly relocated, and that if the rights are not, in any way messed with, yeah, let Trump play make-believe. He's an old fool. There's no fool like an old fool. Just let him do it. Let him think he's doing something, and then undo it. Show the next president the secret protocol, and it's like, yeah, we were only joshing with the guy. You could even put in the treaty, secret protocol. If you put it in whatever treaty is a joint defense treaty, putting in Coast Guard bases, which are necessary. A Canadian / American Coast Guard / Danish Coast Guard is essential. I mean, Trump's right about that. It's because Tulsi Gabbard probably, heard from people who know better about what's going on. Because, having a Russian plant in the government works two ways sometimes. So, yeah, assume there's a Moscow connection and just manage it. So, and manage it in a way that Russia doesn't expect. So, yeah, eventually eventually Muscovy is going to have to either be wiped off the planet or be brought in as part of a European federation. Not the rest of the Russian Empire, just Muscovy be a thing, and Ukraine be a thing, and make them all part of NATO, and then let Far Eastern Russia be. Quit digging the oil. We need to stop the oil. You want summers to stop burning in Europe, because the air is burning essentially, for all practical purposes. If you want that to stop gasoline, which means cap any oil in the in Russian Asia, in Siberia. Just end it. And to do that, we may have to make Muscovy part of Europe, or part of NATO, and give the rest to the Inuit. That'd be fun. Greenland to the Urals as a nation, kind of makes sense, and it would be a homogenous nation. So, yeah, maybe even Lapland should be part of it too. And Hungary and Estonia, so Finland, so because they supposedly, another kind of part of that ethnic admixture. So, although the extreme kind on the other side, but then again, I may be the old fool, so you have to duke a deal around. But the bottom line is, Trump's a senile old man. Let him think he's done something. And just make a deal that it really hasn't, that it's all for show. Just let him, humor the old guy. Let him catch the car. He won't know what to do with it. Again, as long as the rights and privileges of the Inuit people are secured, and maybe that should include considering, being part of the First Nations of Canada. So, yeah, that basically is that. Have a great January.